You're getting
Bottle.
Tesla owners to go and pick up garbage to get, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Including not just mochas. I've heard way worse stories. Let's just say there's some liquid that looks like Gatorade but isn't. Like,
Well,
how do you recruit people for this?
doing your part to make the world a better place. I mean, we are making a big difference.
You are listening to Zero E Michigan with Carl Bloss and Larry Hudson. On this show, we try to explore and simplify what's happening with electric vehicles, energy generation, and zero emissions topics with a focus on our home state of Michigan. Together with our guests, we demystify topics related to driving electric in Michigan and how you can select, charge, maintain, and get the maximum value out of your EV. This podcast is sponsored by Consumers Energy and the Power My Drive program. Start your EV journey at consumersenergy.com/EV.
Welcome back to the Zero E Michigan podcast. We have with us today Casey Loring and Kelli Beth and Burt Sloan. They are with the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan. And today we want to talk about the Adopt a Supercharger program. So with that, if you want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about this program and how it all got started.
All right, I guess I can start on that. Let's see. It was June of 2020 when I took delivery of my Tesla, which was quite an upgrade for me coming from being a student. And really, how I got involved with the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan was really trying to branch out. I was like the first in my friend circle that got an electric vehicle and didn't really have any friends. And I went as far as Googling. Carl's heard this story already. Googling Muskegon electric vehicles. That's how Carl and I met. Um, so it was really kind of seeing, oh, there is a Tesla club in the state of Michigan. Cool. Oh, bummer. All the events are in Detroit and on the east side. So it kind of started with how the Tesla summer meetup began, where it was like, let's try to have something over here on the west side of the state. And thought, man, if 10 cars showed up, that would blow my mind. And 30 came. And then it was like, I started meeting the board members, Chris and Paul at the time, and Nicholas. And we just became really good friends. And they liked the event we were having over here. And they asked me to join in. And so they had me scheduled to be an events manager over here on the west side of the state, and looking for some kind of event that the owners club could do that was not quite an event, but more of like an initiative or a program, something more than just like a 1 day a year thing. And we kind of started seeing a need for especially in the springtime, Meijer's parking lots can get a little bit dirty with the winter's worth of garbage blowing over to the outskirts of the parking lots, which are where charging stations predominantly are. We thought, hey, why don't we try putting a garbage can out here and see if it gets used, and maybe organize once a week or once a month a garbage pickup. We got some garbage grabbers, and didn't really think that it was going to be a program at that point or anything. So that's what we did. We kind of set Muskegon to be the guinea pig. Of course, I asked my best friends, my best EV friends in Muskegon, if they wanted to join. Of course, Carl generously was one of the first people. We met a really awesome guy, Mark, in Spring Lake. One of my other friends from Michigan Tech, Ryan Cowie, joined, and Brian Lenore, and we became the five musketeers for the Muskegon Supercharger. We wanted to get a garbage can, and man, we didn't realize how expensive garbage cans were. Like a nice gas station style garbage can is what we wanted to try to put in, and we
With a
all
little
pitched.
squeegee thing in it.
Yeah, we wanted something for some windshield wiper fluid to go in, and we all pitched in 5 ways, so it wasn't really that bad. And yeah, we started with Muskegon, and this was around the time where Kelli and Burt were both like, "Oh my gosh, this has to blow up." There's you kind of see in the EV community, a good majority of people are very environmentally conscious. So we thought this would be a great thing to kind of tie in the core values of EV ownership and earth friendly litter picking up. You know what I mean? So That's where, Kelli came in and was like, well, this can't just be Muskegon only. This has to be every supercharger on the east side of the state. So we kind of started putting stuff out on social media, seeing if this would be something anyone else would want to join in. And yeah, we got a lot of positive hits. We were up to around 50 people in the state of Michigan that signed up to be an adopter. Some people, like Mark, for example, in Muskegon, he goes every single week because he grocery shops on Wednesdays. So it's very convenient for him. Other people, they can only make it once a month. And not like a set
We'll take any help that we can get. That's
Exactly.
basically where we are.
There's
So,
no.
Case, let me jump in here real quick.
Please.
So I'm Kelli Sloan, and this is my husband, Burt Sloan. And Burt has been basically the East Side admin for all of the adoptive superchargers. And I agree with everything that Casey said. But one point that was very significant to me when we started this program is that we're very passionate about our brand. And yes, the supercharger experience is a representation of the Tesla brand, but I also have lived in metropolitan Detroit my entire life. And so when people travel from anywhere in the country into Michigan with their Teslas and use the superchargers, those supercharger stations represent my state. So my pride as a Michigan citizen is tied to the look of the community. And I can tell you that Burt and I have commented numerous times as we've been doing this program that we never realized how much litter there is everywhere. You get off of a freeway exit and there's just trash everywhere in the grass. And, we have made a concerted effort with our teams over here on the east side to not only clean up the Tesla superchargers, but EVgo, Electrify America. If those charging stations are around, not only do we pick up the trash at our Tesla chargers and sweep the ground there, we make sure that every charger, because it's important that we represent ourselves well. And so that was really a huge focus for me, that not only is this environmentally friendly, but it also shows our good citizenship.
So how did this whole thing propagate? So I know at some point I stopped at one of the Tesla, or not the Tesla, I stopped at one of the downtown Muskegon level 2 chargers, and there's a sticker on it. And it's like this Tesla Muskegon Discord group, right? And I'm not really a Discord user. My son is, he's a gamer. So I thought, okay, but this is important. I got to do this now. So I got the Discord app, I got an account and all that stuff. And then before you know it, we're having discussions. And then since I already had it, then once you got started with the with the adoptive supercharger program, all of a sudden, boom, there are all these hashtags for all these superchargers all over the state. And that's when I really saw the activity start to bloom, where people got involved, and it's okay, I'm going to do this one. And you can always see what the activity is, what's going on. So tell us a little bit about that medium for somebody that's old like me.
Yeah, that goes right back to like kind of what I was saying earlier. I didn't have any friends in the EV community. That right there, Carl, was kind of my first attempt at trying to meet people. Was I didn't know how frequently the level 2 chargers around Muskegon County got used, but I figured maybe somebody would see this and this could be like a chat room they could get in. And I wasn't like a big Discord user or anything. I remember when I was going to university at Michigan Tech, that's what it was. All the younger computer nerd guys would use it as a means to communicate with their teams and stuff. And I remembered that. And yeah, there were actually a couple of classes that I took where our study groups would have a Discord server and we'd bounce our homework questions around inside it. And so I made that Muskegon Tesla Discord server to try to meet people. And yeah, we had maybe like 10 people in there, some from Grand Haven and Spring Lake. And that server is what is now the Adopt a Supercharger server. I kind of, it's bigger than just Muskegon only. Let's have the whole statewide come into here. And like you said, you started seeing people join and join and join. So it really is an awesome kind of app. Like you said, not a lot of people may be familiar with Discord. how it works is you have one server, which acts as the chat room, and then you can make several individual sub channels inside that are text based. So, for example, there's the hashtag Muskegon channel inside our Adopted Superchargers server. So that's kind of how, or what we use to stay organized, to kind of let people know, like, hey, Mark was just there Wednesday. He's going to sign in and just type, hey guys, I was here Wednesday. Here's what I saw. I returned a couple shopping carts to the cart corral. I filled up the washer fluid. I emptied the recycling bin. We had a full thing of garbage and I took it in. So that lets the next person know, okay, probably don't have to go on a Thursday.
Yeah. Or we're running low on trash bags. Get everybody kicking another $5 or something.
There you
like
go.
that.
Exactly. So every station in the States has a channel within our server, and it's super easy to get on. You just need a code, pop in. It's just an app on your phone. You can choose your level of notifications. Obviously, if you had your notifications turned on every time somebody talked in there, your phone would be blowing up a lot. But you can set your notifications to only show up if somebody tags your name. If they want to specifically mention you or call you out, boom, you can get a little pops up on your phone like a text message. So,
or even by location, which makes it very convenient for a lot of people. So Casey is the grandfather of this, and I'm the grandma. I'm the mommy of this. So I monitor the Discord all the time to figure out where we need support. And then when I realize that maybe it's been 3 or 4 days since a supercharger's been done, I send Burt on an adventure. Mm-hmm. And so he gets to go and change garbage bags and clean up garbage. And we've used the Discord. We have expanded. So the program started last July, but we've actually expanded the program to be a notification of supercharger outages.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Kind of damage.
Yeah. And at this point, we actually have somebody from Tesla who monitors this, and they're actually actively using this. I see messages, for example, hey, I see that up in, what was it today? Big Rapids, nobody's been using 4A for a long time. And next time somebody's there, can they check it out and see if there's something wrong with it, or it's just for random reasons it's not being used?
Yeah,
and I think all of that happened because he's the head of our tech services for Superchargers in Michigan. And I was taught, Burt had met him. He happened to be servicing, Burt was out cleaning at Ann Arbor, and the tech came up and had a conversation, was asking about what we do. And he and the whole service team have been incredibly supportive. They wanted to know what kind of garbage bags do we use? How do we manage the trash at each location? They all have grabbers. So if they're out servicing the locations, they support us in that way. We also let them know if there are any issues at the superchargers, if there's damage, if there's something that's not working. Last winter, we had a couple ice storms here on the east side of the state, and I was contacted by our tech, and he was asking, at certain locations, were there issues? So Burt and I were heading out, and we actually took both of our Teslas out, and we were testing the chargers to see if they would work. And I ended up talking to the tech and ended up, the air blasters that you use to clean your keyboard. I asked him, I said, is this safe to use? Because some of them were down on the ground and had ice and water. I mean, it was a winter mess. Welcome to Michigan. And so we just took the blaster and blasted it out and plugged it in. And so 2 of them that people thought were broken, it was just because they were down on the ground and had snow packed in them. But once we blew the snow out, then people could charge. And so it's been a very good mutual relationship that we're helping him identify where there are issues and getting the whole Tesla community involved, because we have a historic thing. And what is it, Casey? 4C at Gaylord never gets used. Mm-hmm. And so so what happens is, just so everyone knows, if a supercharger does not get used for an extended period of time, it basically goes to sleep, and it will report that it's offline. when there's actually nothing wrong with that particular location. Well, wintertime, there's much less travel in Michigan than there is during the summertime. So we're getting ready to go to an active time of year where I don't think we'll have that issue at Gaylord. But he has seen significant spans of time where specific superchargers were not plugged in. And so it went to sleep and it's showing that it's offline. So he's going to send a tech who works in the Metro Detroit area up to Gaylord, a 3.5-hour drive, to find out it's just because nobody plugged in. So now, instead of him having to spend their time going to take care of a nothing burger, he can call us. We can send a shout out to the whole Tesla Owners Club and say, hey, if you happen to be going there grocery shopping, can you please just go over and plug into that charger, bring it back to life so that when the next person gets there, they're going to be good to go.
So
Yeah,
one of the things that happened this winter was there were two different superchargers where when the snowplow came in and plowed it out, it piled a bunch of snow up in front of a particular charger. And so one of the things that we did was went and got those couple of chargers free from the snow so that they could be used again.
And I just stand and look cute and let Burt do all the shoveling just so everyone knows. I'll be perfectly honest about it.
Well,
So I'm not familiar with the Tesla. When the cords are laying on the ground, is the wind just knock them out, or is that just someone not being?
So the first thing is in the wintertime, the 150 kilowatt cords are very large and they're bulky. And when they get cold, they don't, when the connector is put up into the holster, the cord actually puts a lot of pressure to pull them out just because they're stiff and they're having to twist to get up into the holster. And so you can put them up in there, and then after a little bit of time, they pop out just as the cord pulls on it and pushes it. Now, that's not so true on the version 3s, but on the 250 kilowatts, it's nowhere near as bad as that. But on the 150s, a lot of times they'd pull out just because the cords got too cold. And as it was out plugged into a car, it was in one shape. When you go to put it up into the holster, you're asking the cord to change shape, and it doesn't want to do that.
So we can monitor that as we go out to different superchargers. If we see a cord that's on the ground, Burt and I will go up and see if we can easily hang it up. Does it come flying back out? If it does, then we will immediately report to the techs that there's an issue. And there are, I mean, things wear out. And so that's part of what we're doing as we go to the superchargers. And pretty much everyone who's in the Adopt a Supercharger program. And first of all, the first thing that I should have said is thank you from the bottom of my heart to the people who go out tirelessly, who are dependable. They engage with all of us. They have made this so much nicer for anyone who visits a supercharger. And it is thankless work. There's no doubt about it. I mean, picking up trash is not glamorous in any stretch of the imagination. Every one of us has had coffee coming out of a garbage bag dripped all over us where we just feel like we want to be hosed down by the closest fire hose. And yet we go back and the volunteers go back over and over and over again, regardless of what happens, because what makes we have met, truthfully, I mean, you can tell I like to talk barely. Casey and Carl will burst out laughing now because I never shut up, and my husband too. But I love to go to talk to the people. And so I go and watch Burt and his cute self do all the work while I just chat the folks up to find out, I find out what they had for breakfast that morning, how their day has been, what are they doing for the evening, what are they like, what's their, that's how I like to get to know the community. And so in that discovery, we have met a lot of amazing people who have said, can we help you? What can we do? How can we support this? And Burt and I have both, and I know Casey has said the same thing. We've had people walk up and say, here, take this money. And that to me is a conflict. I mean, we are working on a mechanism, and I know that this was part of your conversation, Carl, tonight. We are working on a mechanism through the club where people can support the efforts of the club, and we will put funding toward garbage cans, garbage bags, grabbers, whatever equipment is needed for people to safely do this. And I have to give a thank you to many of the store directors for Meijers who have been sending their people out. I mean, we have guys, the Ypsilanti Supercharger. There's a specific gentleman that we work with there. His name is George Hubbard, and I'll give him his shout out. Great man, been super with the club. We held a meet and greet there. He had his people bring us out coffee. I mean, they were just awesome. But they also have people who, if they see that we're there cleaning, they come out with one of the Shamrocks so that we can give them the garbage. And we've made a point to go to the stores to have a meet and greet with the store directors to let them know what the program is. And they're not in a position where they can, offer us garbage bags or whatever. So on this side of the state, Burt and I have bought 14 garbage. I think we bought 14 garbage cans. We can't afford, because I bought so many garbage cans, I can't afford the bougie garbage cans that Carl and Casey's money can buy. I had to find a cheaper solution since I was back. Their garbage can was a few $100s. The garbage can that I found that has been working just fine is $25. And the biggest thing has been finding the correct garbage bags. I can tell you, I've bought at least 20 different garbage bags, and the best garbage bags that I found are clear. They're amazing garbage bags, but our adopters have an issue with having these garbage bags that are clear full of yuck, and they just feel embarrassed. So they asked me if we could please find black garbage bags. They would feel more comfortable. So we went on a mission to find black garbage bags, and it's actually one of the adopters at Northville who was amazing. He just kept buying garbage bags, and I bought garbage bags, and we tried them, and contractor bags, everything that you could imagine. So that really became a challenge for us to find something, because you're at a supercharger, people are traveling, they got a half drank mocha and they want to get it out of their car, so they throw it in the trash. And then we've got mocha, Gatorade, everything else all in there. So you've got a bag that's half full of liquid, and you need something that's going to hold it, or otherwise you're going to be drunk. That's what you're going to shower with. And none of us like that for sure. So we've tried to be considerate of people's their volunteerism to try and give them the best supplies that we can. So we're hoping that as we open up the club website, that the donation button to the club, that people will understand that we're going to utilize those funds to support this effort and to be able to grow the effort to put more garbage cans at more locations and bring more adopters in. And this is never going to be a paid position. You have to have pride. You have to have some moxie, some initiative. And the Tesla community is amazing. And we're just grateful for everybody who gives of themselves to do this.
It's a great idea. I feel like it mimics Elon, sleeping at the factory floor or to help get the Model 3 out, right? It's that spirit. I really like. What a great idea. And I agree.
It definitely takes a specific type of person, like, I'm not going to name names, but I have some good EV friends that kind of just look at me crazy. Like, you're picking up other people's garbage. Like,
well, and I was going to ask that question. So it's like, let me get this straight. People go out and buy $50,000 to $150,000 cars, and now you're going to engage them to go pick up trash, including not just mochas. I've heard way worse stories. Let's just say there's some liquid that looks like Gatorade but isn't, right? And then wait, you're getting Tesla owners to go and pick up garbage to get. Are you kidding me? Like, how do you recruit people for this?
At some point in this, I wanted to give a shout out to my mom. She's a recent EV owner for the first time here as of February. And I remember when I was a kid, we'd go out to the beach or go walk at Lake Harbor Park, and I'd be embarrassed if I had a friend with me, because my mom would always bring a grocery bag with her and pick up garbage as we're walking along the trails, or pick up cigarette butts or diapers on the shoreline on the beach. And I, as a little kid, I was embarrassed that my mom was doing that. I didn't want my friends thinking she was a janitor or something. But as I got older, of course, it's like I really learned to appreciate that, and have kind of adopted that into my life too. I'm always picking up garbage when I go out hiking, or anytime I see trash overflowing in a garbage can, I just kind of try to help out. So that's something that was kind of instilled in me from my mom. So shout out to Lori. I know she's probably watching this right now. But that's kind of, that kind of idea kind of is what birthed this program. Just kind of doing your part to make the world a better place. Because I mean, we are making a big difference. Store directors are noticing. And it's just like there's so much less like Muskegon. I'm so proud of Muskegon Supercharger. I don't think of course people take it for granted. Nobody's really like, they notice a really nasty station, but they don't really notice a very clean station. But you have had people be like, oh man, yeah, thanks, you guys put those garbages there, thanks, we thought it was Meijer. Or like, I remember one time I heard a little girl in the back seat of a Model X one time, Mommy, that janitor has a Tesla. You see picking up trash and leaving the bag out, getting back into my car. So little things like that are always funny. Like Kelli said, it's always great meeting people there. It's definitely a talking point. Usually people, at least in the summer, will roll down their window and be like, did you guys put that garbage can there? Thanks, man. And so it's not
one of the things that I was going to comment about was we have two superchargers in particular, Livonia and Detroit, where Hertz started renting out Teslas, particularly to Uber drivers.
Yes.
And it was surprising. First off, they generate a tremendous amount of garbage compared to other Tesla owners, but also they have no idea what a Tesla is. I had to show 5 of them how to plug the thing in because they didn't know how to open up the door. They don't have the app, so there's a lot of stuff that I take for granted they don't know exists. We spent a lot of time just teaching Uber drivers common etiquette, like if you're at a 150 kilowatt station, you leave a space in between each car, or you don't charge up to 100%, or you don't leave your car sitting there after you're charged. And the Uber drivers, they sit there at a supercharger charging until they get a call. And they're sitting there eating and all that kind of thing. And they get the call to go do a job, they immediately push the food out onto the ground.
Yeah, they
and
can't
take
have
off.
the trash in their car with the client, right? So
yeah, they really trashed the supercharger area, and that was really the first thing that got Kelli and I think, and just how much trash there was at a couple of the local superchargers all of a sudden, and really was a impetus for us to get involved with the program and start cleaning it up.
Well, and it also gave me a reason to stand in front of somebody's car and say, I just saw you throw that out on the ground. And I'm the kind of mom that'll whip somebody else's kid. So get out of that car and pick that trash up right now before I have to drag you out of that car and spank you myself. And I've had a couple kids that, like one young man, we were at Detroit, and he's looking at me, and I'm just going at this kid, and I'm saying, young man, I don't know what you think you're doing. And my language was pretty colorful. I said, you better get yourself out of that car now and pick this stuff up. And he looked at Burt, and Burt just nodded his head. And the kid got out of the car. He never said a word. He picked up all of his garbage. He walked to the garbage can. He put it in. He got back in his car and just sat there quietly.
Well, and we've had a number of the Uber drivers telling us, that they're going to be there basically every day, and they'll help to monitor when the cans are getting full and to take them over to where we drop the bags off and that sort of thing. So that's been tremendous.
Has it been hard to find a place to take the trash?
Well, so one of the things that we did is that we made the effort to go and meet the store directors. So for the first, probably 6 weeks, my 2020 Tesla Model Y became a modified garbage truck. We would put bins, the big plastic totes, and we'd put 3 in the back of my car, and he and I would go out and we'd do 5 or 6 superchargers, and we'd bring all the garbage home.
Wow.
And
we learned quickly
that we didn't.
We learned a lot.
Sometimes we had to come home to put garbage in our bin before we could go back out because we didn't have any more room in my car. And I said, this is I have white interior and everything else, and I'm hauling trash. So finally I said, you know what? That gave me the motivation to say, you know what? I gotta find a better built mousetrap. So let me just go into Meijer's and say, hey, listen, we're doing this and we're going to continue to do this, and we want to make things better in your parking lot, but I need your help. And your bins are, locked down with those things. We understand that that's the law, that they can't be open. We're not dumping dead bodies. We got garbage and it's being left here. We're just trying to clean it up. And every store director that we went in, and Casey and I actually I met Casey with one of our adopters, Elijah. We met at Grand Rapids. We went into the store, shook the hand of the store director, handed him so this is a paper that I have with us all the time. And it just says adopt a supercharger. It gives them the information. They can send an informational email. It tells them how to get to our website. And so it says, clean up this charging location is provided by volunteer members and families of the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan. And so if you want to help, we could use your help. And so I just walk into the store directors, hand them my club card and hand them the documentation about what we've done and say, hey, here's what we're doing, but I need you to meet me halfway. What can we do with this garbage? And so most of the locations, so Burt and I handle our specific locations are Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, but we also support Livonia teams, Northville, Auburn Hills, Detroit. Detroit specifically is a one that needs a lot of love. And then we have a full team at Roseville, so we don't have to go to Roseville anymore. But we do have Uber drivers that, even though they're not on the Discord, that are at Auburn Hills. And when they're at Auburn Hills, they know that I've got extra garbage bags in the bottom of the can. And we've had a couple of times when the regular adopters have gone and they're like, geez, I came here. I wish they would have told me on Discord. And I know what it is. It's because we have Uber drivers who they appreciate it. I mean, they understand that we're doing it to make things more convenient for people.
So specifically, the store directors have told us, for instance, at Northville, there's a room right inside the door. We take the trash in a cart inside the building and dump it there. Several of them have told us to put it over to a cart corral, and their people will take it on over to the Shamrock. Several of them have told us to put it into the Shamrock ourselves and showed us where the Shamrock is located.
And every jurisdiction has different rules about, I can give you an example. Ann Arbor Meijer's, they cannot have a Shamrock outside the store, and that has to do with city code. And so there we leave the garbage they have a specific corral that has a garbage can next to it. And we actually put the cart, not in the cart corral, but beside the cart corral by the garbage can. And then their team knows where it comes from. But all of the people have gotten to know us. And I mean, the kids, when they see us, they know who we are. I mean, it's been a very good program. I think the Meijer's teams are very grateful for it, and we're grateful for the help that they give us too when they can.
It really is a site by site basis thing
Yes.
too. It's like, because we don't have the data analytics from Tesla. We don't know how frequently every station throughout the state gets used. So it really was like a learning, it took a huge learning curve to know, like, even in my hometown of Muskegon, I didn't, you see maybe 2 or 3 cars there at a time at most. But yeah, how fast would it take for a garbage can to fill up at this state or at this site versus Grand Rapids versus Hudsonville? Muskegon kind of in the summer sees the garbage can fill up twice a week, maybe once a week in the winter, when people are less frequent to get out of their cars for any more than it just takes to plug in. But then we had no idea what's the east side like. It's a different animal over there. There are stations that are almost full all day long at noon and 5, and garbage cans are filling up 2 times a day at some sites. The dirtiest ones, like, I think, what are the most notorious?
Livonia and Detroit.
Livonia and Detroit are the 2 probably with the most garbage.
But there are also other factors, like, how do you keep the trash can from flying away? How do you keep the trash bags from, like, getting sucked down into the can, and then people throw stuff on top of it and it's super nasty to clean up. So these are all things that we had to learn. Like, Casey, I think you put some fairly sizable weights that are, what are they, concrete blocks or something, into the bottom of those cans. And then also in the wintertime, we put the windshield washer fluid, and you got to get the -20 stuff so that it doesn't freeze up and turn into a big popsicle.
But what happens is the -20 antifreeze does actually freeze up, because if as you could imagine, when people are using the squeegees to wipe snow off, that snow is collecting on the sponge part of it, and snow is falling in there. So actual water is saturating itself in there, and we're finding even the -20 freezes up in the middle of the winter.
Come on, Casey and Carl, are you guys so cheap that you can't buy like a
-50
or something? A pond heater, an electric, a solar powered pond heater to put into the stuff? Come on, Muskegon. That's why I have no windshield washer fluid on my side.
We need more donations for things like that, for sure.
Yeah,
I guess that does kind of segue. We haven't really talked about, like,
the money thing
for Meijer, right? Mathematically, 4 out of every 5 superchargers in the state are at Meijer.
Yes.
Total count is 26 out of the 32 superchargers are at Meijer. So really, when we were talking earlier about, like, this image thing for Tesla and EV owners together, because I mean, we're not just cleaning up superchargers. There's ChargePoint DC fast chargers, Shell Recharge, and we're picking up the whole area. So really, it is just a EV charging community that we're trying to improve the image for. And being that this is always Meijer property, it's really kind of it's Meijer's image too. And we're really hoping that they see what we're trying to do for them. And we really do have a lot of the same core values as Meijer's sustainability team does.
And also, they'd be more likely to host other superchargers or other chargers in the future, saying, yes, this is a good experience for us, and it's even going to drive some business.
Right. The point we're trying to bang home with Meijer, which we're in talks with, is, I mean, look at a Meijer gas station. That's a fueling station, just like a supercharger is. We're really just kind of trying to let Meijer know, like, hey, provide the same kind of amenities that somebody purchasing gas. Every gas station you go to has a garbage can right there, has a squeegee, has its garbage cans routinely maintained so there's not trash laying all over the ground. These are fueling stations, just a different kind. And we know it's in the infancy still, kind of. But yeah, provide a garbage can, provide something, help us take care of the garbage there. And we really think Meijer is going to jump on the bandwagon and help out too.
Maybe even some discounts, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that in some places. There's a guy that I work with, Brian Kuhn. He's doing this charge deals thing where you can scan a QR code and take it inside. So maybe that's something that Meijer might be interested in the future. So if somebody wants to participate they're listening to this and they want to reach out. What's the best way to get a hold of this group so that maybe, they say, hey, I live 2 minutes from my supercharger and I want to get involved. How can I best do that?
That's who we're
You
looking
can send an email to info@teslamichigan.org.
Okay.
And our website should be open. We're hoping to have it fully open this week. And the website is teslamichigan.org. We'll obviously have Adopt a Supercharger information. We also host events, meet and greet. So if people are interested in EVs, our group is open to all EV owners, but we host all different kinds of events, meet and greets. We do picnics. We've got our big summer event is June 17th that Casey hosts at Pier Marquette Beach in Muskegon.
But someplace in the state, there's at least one event every weekend through the summer.
We'll put that in the show notes so people can find that and reach out.
Here,
yeah.
Carol, I'll hold this up because this has all the information on it right there. So you
Okay.
can grab that picture. Can you see it?
Go.
Back
Go
up
up
just
now.
a little bit. There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. So
But
any
we
other?
would love to have help. We would love to have people bring more pride to this situation. What do we have case now? 16 superchargers that have been visited. We really need help in Lansing.
Lansing's a big one. We currently have
Grand Rapids.
nobody in Lansing has stepped up yet, which is surprising to me. Grand Rapids has one routine. Grand Rapids Cascade, I should be more specific. There's 1, 2, and then Tony, the Lucid technician, helps out too as well at that Cascade location. Hudsonville currently has 2.
What about Kalamazoo Myers?
Yes.
Kalamazoo Myers. I was out there the other day. I took pictures of it. It's coming.
Portage needs.
No, that was Battle Creek.
Well. Yep.
That was Battle Creek. We went to so Carl hosted the event at the Kalamazoo Nature Center. We were there last Saturday and we stopped at the Kalamazoo Supercharger, which is right down the street. It's like 6 minutes or something from the Nature Center. And we stopped there. It was actually pretty nice. I mean, we always have the grabbers, a broom, a dustpan. I mean, there's kind of I call it triage equipment that you need to service a supercharger. So if somebody says, well, what do I need to get started? Get a good grabber. There's great grabbers that we've bought at Menards. They're about $20. Have a broom, have some kind of a dustpan that's on a handle. I always have 13-gallon garbage bags. And then we always have 55-gallon garbage bags so you were talking about how do we secure it? Thank God Burt's an engineer, because believe me, if it was me, I'd try to nail it into the ground and that just wouldn't work. So we obviously do not want the trash cans to come loose and blow into people's cars, blow across the parking lot. We didn't want a chance that anybody would be injured. And so most of the supercharger stations have posts that have signs that say, Tesla charging, whatever the case may be. So Burt has taken and used for a bird feeder, actually, that's out in our butterfly habitat. But he drove those down into the ground, and then the garbage cans that I buy have a bar on the bottom, and then we've used, something as rudimentary as a dog collar to hold it at the top and at the bottom and at the top, and then we put the garbage bags in. And then we found these garbage cans, if you use a 48-inch bungee, you can go around the top of because they have a hinged lid. And so we'll hook one side of the bungee on one side of the garbage can. You bring it all the way around so it's holding the garbage bag. Because I agree with Carl. The issue, all the things that you brought up, Carl, are things that we kind of went through saying, okay, how are we going to keep these garbage bags in place? How are we going to keep the cans in place? And we communicate through the Discord. So if somebody goes, the Livonia team a couple weeks ago hit Burt and I up and said, hey, listen, one of the garbage cans is loose. We did what we could with it. And the next morning, Burt went out and resecured it and made sure that it was okay. And so there are definitely things that you need to do. I think that we probably spend as much money on things to secure the garbage cans as we have the garbage cans themselves.
I think this is really great. And I also want to say, so I recently took a trip with my Tesla down to North Carolina, and I noticed on some spots outside of Michigan that there was something very similar. So I think the idea is catching on. So I think there are other Tesla groups that are starting to adopt the supercharger. And again, just this sense of community is really great, because sometimes Tesla owners have this reputation, even in the EV space, like, oh, you own these fancy, multi-$100,000 vehicles, and you're just a bunch of spoiled brats. So I think this kind of activity and this outreach effort kind of speaks against that. So it is really a great community to be part of.
It is, yes.
And then you guys had mentioned you're trying to figure out about a donation process. Where's that at?
Is that going to be on the website somewhere?
That will be on the website.
Okay.
That'll
Yeah,
be on
'cause
the
some
website.
people
We've been
aren't-
working on getting the website open. So hopefully in the next week, that's really, we've been meeting on it almost every day, trying to finalize exactly how the website's going to look, but there will obviously be ways to support this effort, and that we could definitely use the help. So there is a North American Council for Tesla Owners Club. And back in October, Burt and I went to TeslaCon, and I had the pleasure of representing the Tesla Owners Club members at the North American Council. And while we were there, I did a presentation about Adopt a Supercharger. And
Nice.
and we had a number of the clubs that have reached out to us and said, this is absolutely something that's needed. And so I have stayed in contact with that group. And as Casey has produced additional documentation about the program, and we've done photo ops with the teams and things, just to let people know that it's, like Carl said, we're not a bunch of spoiled brats. We're a bunch of people that work jobs every day. And guess what? Sometimes we stop on our way home, and sometimes you're a poor guy like Burt, who's retired and his wife is really bossy, and he just gets in his Tesla, and he has his own Tesla to drive. So he just gets in it and away he goes. And if he needs a charge, guess what? He's going to be at a supercharger somewhere in Southeast Michigan.
That's great. Casey, tell us about your event one more time. So how many people you got signed up this year?
First year, 30 cars came out in 2021, which absolutely blew my mind. I didn't think it could be any bigger than that. The next year, it quadrupled. 124 cars came last year. This year, we have to cut it off at 200. There's 150 parking spots in the Pure Marquette lot marked. You can fit another 50 around the inner perimeter. So 200 is our cutoff. So the Tesla Summer Meetup, it's open to any EV. It's done by the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan to just have a great day with your EV buddies on arguably the most beautiful beach in the state. I'm going to say it.
Yep. And we take a little drive. We go out for a meal. So just really cool.
This year, one of the big things was a lot of people were like, hey, I just drove across state. I got bugs all over my car. I can't show my car off at a car show. Where do I wash my car? So people are scrambling at all the touchless car washes in Muskegon that morning, showing up late. And we're like, maybe we could kill two birds with one stone and do a charity car wash. So this is a charity car wash for Noah's Project, the no-kill animal shelter here in Muskegon. And it's just going to be a great day. So that's June 17th. I can't wait. We're under 2 months to go now.
Awesome. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. So if you want to sign, is it too late to sign up, or are you still?
Oh, RSVPs are still open. Okay. We're going to try it. We wish we could cut it off like a month in advance, because there's all the swag that needs to be provided from our sponsors. We have Ego, the lawn care company, as our main corporate sponsor this year, that are going to be demoing all their power tools. Their riding lawnmowers will be there that you can test out, spin around the parking lot. Probably going to be a big hit for the kiddos.
I'll get you some swag bags from Consumers Energy, and actually we're changing our home charger rebate program so that it should be now include the Tesla charger, or at least the installation. So I'll have some information on that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that'll be great. And another attraction for the summer meetup this year is that we are fortunate that we have some YouTubers from the Tesla community who are heading to the beach. And we have confirmed that Chris from Dirty Tesla will be there. Mike Lichterman, who is his YouTube channel is the Michigan Tesla Guy. Mike is going to be our event host for a talk on the beach about electric vehicles in the future, not only in our state, but what the future holds for solar, what sustainability really means, all the things that in the Tesla community that are, our pride points. And so we have Brian White from My Tesla Weekend coming from all the way from Aurora, Washington to spend the weekend with us. So we're grateful. We are hoping that the Lean Design team, Sandy Monroe, Corey Steuben, that they're going to be able to make it. They anticipate that they're going to be here, but we understand that that's a very busy crew. So we're trying to bring a little bit more excitement to the Tesla event. And although Casey has done an amazing job for the past couple of years, bringing everybody together, we'd like this to really be a fabulous day on the beach for everybody.
Yeah, and it is already, and it can only get better. Next year, you'll have to look for a space for 1,000 cars, right?
There we go. 5,000 is my goal.
If you look at the EV registration just in the state of Michigan, it is an exponential curve. It's
we're on an adoption S curve. I just gave a presentation today internally. Adoptions always go through an S curve, and we are at that inflection point. So it's really taking off.
It could hit 100,000 a lot sooner than people think, just here in Michigan alone.
Yep, disruptions are usually not the way people think they go. It's exponential.
Casey talked about he's been driving electric since 2020. Burt and I got our first Tesla in 2018, and then we added a second. So we're a complete EV house. I know Casey and Cassie are too now.
We are too.
So yeah. So we're doing our best to do emission-free driving to try and make the world a better place. So get your grabbers. Please stop at a Supercharger, pick up a little bit of trash, and just know that we love you for it. And we're grateful. Thank you.
Become an adopter today.
There you go.
Become an adopter today. Absolutely. Call me up. I'll be happy to talk to you.
All right. Well, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it. Casey, I know you had a rough day today, so thanks for making it. Maybe we'll have to regroup another time and see how it's going about, a couple months from now, a year from now, something like that.
Absolutely. I've been watching
anytime
your Zero E Michigan podcast for a while now. So it's awesome.
we're fledgling, but we're working on it. So thanks for
being
part of
Larry
that.
and Carl, thank you so much.
If you enjoyed or learned from this episode of Zero E Michigan, please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Visit our YouTube channel for other related videos at youtube.com/@0E-Michigan.